SFX thunder cracks. Rain lashes against neon glass. The door creaks open. Porter Hale steps inside, exhausted, soaked, his apartment dark except for a single blinking light on the floor. A child's voice trembles from the shadows. "Please, don't let them find us." Porter freezes. Two small alien girls crouch under his kitchen table, eyes glowing softly in the dark. One holds a cracked ID badge, smeared with dried blood. She whispers, barely audible, "Our mom is gone, and they're coming back for us." Rain hammered the glass like it was trying to erase the night itself. Porter Hale stood in the doorway, boots dripping on the tile, the smell of algae and iron mixing with stale coffee. He wasn't sure what he was looking at. Two small figures, skin faintly green under the flickering light, both trembling and soaked through. The older girl's eyes were sharp, calculating, far too old for her face. The younger one pressed against her, shivering, clutching a broken badge as if it was her heartbeat. Porter's first instinct wasn't fear. It was disbelief. He'd seen plenty of strange things during the frontier wars. Soldiers stitched with metal, medics with more scars than faces. But this, two alien kids in his kitchen whispering like ghosts, that was new. He crouched slowly, hands open. "Hey, I'm not going to hurt you." The older girl flinched, moving in front of her sister. The younger peeked from behind, wide eyes catching the light. Porter noticed her lips were cracked, her hands raw from cold. Whatever they'd escaped, it wasn't kind. "Name's Porter," he said softly, voice low and steady, the same tone he used on injured soldiers. "You hungry?" They didn't answer, but when he turned to fill a kettle, he heard the faint scrape of a chair moving closer. Good sign. He poured water, tore open a packet of instant noodles, the only thing he had that didn't require courage to eat, and slid two steaming bowls across the counter. The smell seemed to break something in them. The girls devoured the food like it might disappear. Porter leaned back against the counter, watching in silence. The older one finally spoke, barely a whisper. "We didn't mean to come here." The door, it opened. He nodded. "Then it's lucky you did." Outside, thunder rolled again, deep and endless. Porter glanced toward the window. A drone light swept past, red, mechanical, searching. The older girl froze mid-bite. "Who's looking for you?" he asked quietly. Her answer came sharp, eyes locked on his. "Everyone." The kettle clicked off behind him, the sound small and human against the storm. Porter exhaled slowly. He didn't know it yet, but his quiet life had just ended. For a long moment only the rain spoke. It tapped against the balcony rail, steady as a clock. Porter no longer trusted. The girls huddled near the heater now, wrapped in one of his old shirts that swallowed them both. The room smelled faintly of wet metal and boiled noodles. He should have called security. That was procedure. Report intruders, especially non-registered species. But the word procedure tasted sour. He'd followed rules his whole life, and all they'd ever done was bury the truth under paperwork. "Where's your mother?" he asked quietly. The older girl, Erie, she'd said her name was, hesitated. "She went to the docks. She said she'd come back before the storm." Her voice cracked halfway through. "She didn't." Porter lowered himself onto the floor, careful not to crowd them. The younger one, Nia, leaned against Irie's arm, thumb tracing the broken edge of the badge. He noticed the corporate logo etched across it. Aqua Core, Refinery Division. That name stirred something unpleasant in him. He'd audited one of their facilities last week, signed a clearance sheet without reading the fine print. He remembered the smell, salt, ozone, and something chemical hiding beneath. He rubbed his jaw. "Your mom worked for Aqua Core." Erie nodded once. "She cleaned the pumps. She said they made the air safe." Safe. The word clanged inside his head. Nothing in this city was safe, especially not for hybrids like them. He looked toward the window. The red scan lights were gone, but the city hummed with mechanical unease. A sudden knock rattled the door. 3 short taps. Official rhythm. Porter's pulse jumped. He gestured for silence and crossed the room, checking the hallway cam. A patrol drone hovered outside. A uniformed officer beside it, visor dripping with rain. He muted the feed and backed away. The girls stared, wide-eyed. "They can't see you," he whispered. "But they'll ask questions." He flicked off the lights. The apartment sank into shadow. The drone's red beam crawled across the curtain, then vanished. After a minute, only darkness remained. Porter sank into a chair, exhaling through his teeth. "All right," he muttered. "If you're staying here, we need a plan." Irie met his gaze, scared, stubborn, alive. "You said it was lucky we came." He gave a tired half-smile. "I'm starting to think you were right." Outside, the storm eased. Inside, a different one had begun. Morning came too soon. Pale light slipped through the blinds, landing on two small shapes asleep on the couch. For the first time in years, Porter had let someone else breathe under his roof. It felt strange, and right in ways he didn't want to admit. He made coffee, the bitter kind meant to keep ghosts away. The sound of the machine woke Irie. She sat up fast, alert, like someone who'd learned that rest was dangerous. Her sister stirred beside her, mumbling something in a language he didn't recognize. "Relax," Porter said softly. "No patrols today." I checked the feed. Irie's shoulders dropped, but only a little. She studied him the way soldiers once studied commanders, waiting to learn if he could be trusted. "You were in the war," she said. Not a question, he gave a tired shrug. "Long time ago." She glanced at his hands, the faint scars across his knuckles. "You saved people then?" "Sometimes," he answered. "Sometimes I just tried." She hesitated, then reached into her pocket and pulled out the broken badge again. The edges were clean, not torn by accident. "Mom said they'd silence anyone who spoke." She found something in the water. Porter set down his cup. "What kind of something?" "People," Irie whispered. "Dead ones. Changed." The words chilled him more than the coffee. He remembered the chemical smell at the docks, the strange shimmer on the surface. Maybe he hadn't been auditing a refinery at all. Maybe he'd been signing off on a graveyard. Nia stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Can we go home now?" Irie's face crumpled just slightly. "Not yet." Porter looked between them, two frightened kids, and a secret too big for either of them to carry. "Then we start by finding your mother's shift records," he said. "I know someone at the data office. If anyone can pull restricted logs, it's him." Irie blinked. "You'd help us?" He managed a half-smile. "Can't exactly go back to counting valves after this, can I?" For the first time she smiled back, small, uncertain but real. Outside the rain had stopped, leaving the city clean but uneasy. Porter pocketed the badge, grabbed his coat and opened the door. "Let's find out what they didn't want us to see." The city looked different in daylight. Too clean, too quiet, as if the storm had washed away not just the dirt, but the evidence. Porter led the girls through the lower districts, staying close to the wall whenever patrol drones passed overhead. The air still tasted of metal and salt. He stopped at a small shop front disguised as a repair kiosk. Inside, rows of flickering screens lined the walls, each one looping data fragments. A man with a mechanical eye looked up from his desk and smirked. "Didn't think I'd see you again, Hale. Still fixing what the system breaks?" Porter closed the door behind them. "Need access to Aqua Corps employee records. Dock Sector 9? The man's smile faded. "You know that's sealed." "I know," Porter said, sliding a credit chip across the counter. "That's why I'm asking you." While the data tech worked, the girls wandered among the humming servers. Nia touched a string of hanging cables, whispering something that made them flicker in rhythm, like the machines understood her. Porter noticed, but said nothing. The kid had her mother's instinct for systems. It was eerie and beautiful at once. Minutes later, the tech frowned. "You didn't hear this from me." "There was no accident. Whole shift disappeared off record same night the storm hit. They purged the files 2 hours later." Irie stiffened. "Purged how?" "Same way they handle waste," the man muttered. "Through the drains." Porter's stomach turned. He remembered the flooded walkways, the missing workers, the chemical stench. It all fit too easily. Before he could ask more, alarms shrieked outside, metallic and sharp. A patrol unit had locked onto the shop's coordinates. The tech cursed. "You didn't come here." "Go now!" Porter grabbed the girls, pushing through a back exit into a narrow alley slick with rainwater. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning. He ducked under a service bridge, heart hammering. Nia clutched his sleeve. "They found us again." He looked at her and for the first time didn't try to hide his fear. "Then we find them first." He pulled out the broken badge, its serial number glowing faintly under the grey light. The code shimmered like a pulse. Coordinates appeared across its surface, leading straight to the docks. Erie met his eyes. "That's where she fell," Porter nodded grimly. "Then that's where we start digging." The docks were nearly empty, swallowed in morning fog. Machines hummed somewhere deep below, moving unseen. Porter's boots splashed through puddles that reflected the city's cold blue light. The girls followed close, small shadows against the mist. At the end of the pier stood the Aquacore refinery, massive, silent, and half-flooded. Its walls were scarred from the storm, pipes still dripping seawater mixed with oil. Porter could smell the truth before he saw it. Decay. They slipped through a maintenance hatch and descended into the lower tunnels. The air grew heavy, thick with rust and algae. A faint light pulsed from below, bioluminescent algae lining the water's edge, glowing like veins in a dying body. Erie stopped suddenly. "Here," she said. "This is where she worked." Her voice trembled, but she didn't cry. Nia clutched her hand. Too small to understand the scale of loss, too old to forget it. Porter's flashlight cut across the tunnel and landed on a metal grate, half bent and slick with slime. Hanging from it was something small, a locket cracked open. Inside was a holophoto of the girls and their mother. Irie covered her mouth. Porter knelt, removing the locket with quiet care. Beneath it, etched into the grate, were the same numbers that had appeared on the badge. "They dumped her here," Porter said softly. "With the waste," Nia's voice broke. "She said she'd come home." Porter swallowed hard. She did, just not the way she wanted. For a moment no one moved. The sound of water filled the space like a heartbeat. Then Erie turned toward him, eyes fierce despite the tears. "They can't hide this." "No," he said. "They won't." He placed the locket inside his jacket and pulled out his data wristband. The refinery still had a live connection, one he could override. He uploaded the images, timestamps, and coordinates directly to the city's main net. Screens across Caravel Spire flickered to life. Aquacorp's cover-up exposed. Outside, sirens wailed, not from pursuit, but from awakening. Porter exhaled finally. "You're safe now." Irie shook her head, tears streaking her green skin. "Not safe," she whispered, "but seen." He placed a hand on her shoulder, gentle and sure. "That's where safety begins." Behind them, the light on the water steadied, soft, warm, almost peaceful. For the first time, the storm inside all three of them began to quiet.